Okay, let's talk about posting on social media and how to take something after a post and turn it into leads for your business. Okay, so picture this: you spend a ton of time. You put up a post on Facebook, on the Instagram. You spent a lot of time on it. You made sure your hair looked great. You took the perfect picture, and you don't get any comments. Right? Raise your hand in your head or while you're watching this if that's ever happened to you. Right? And so in that moment, you do one of two things. Chances are you get discouraged, right? You're like, oh, I spent so much time on that. This is really time consuming. People don't even care. People don't want this. And your brain starts to go and offer you all of these thoughts of failure, right? And in that, likely the next time you go to post, you might find something better to do. You might say, well, I spent all that time and not one single person commented. I've done it 3 times. Nobody ever comments. I only get a couple likes. This isn't worth it, right? Or maybe you're like, well, I know it takes consistency. I know I need to keep showing up. I know I need to keep doing it. And so you keep trying, but you still end up getting the same results. What you need to understand about people is that people invest in 3 different ways. They invest their time, they invest their money, and they invest energy into something, right? So when it comes to scrolling social media, you have to think about consumers of information, right? Like how often do you sit down and you're scrolling through your phone and you're like, oh, you read somebody's post, you're like, yeah, I like that. You click the like button, but do you take the time to comment? No, we don't always take the time to comment, okay? We just don't. We are consuming content at our leisure. We are not always taking time to comment on something. All right. So understand this from the perspective of a consumer of information. Now, understand that if somebody does take the time to like your content, they did just invest time. Okay. It was a very, very minimal amount of time, but they invested time, which means for some reason your post did stop them. So you're like, okay, but great. They liked it. What am I supposed to do with that? And that's what I'm here to teach you. Okay. So from now on, when you are posting on your social media, you are able to turn likes into leads. If I could tell you anybody to follow that can help with training of this even more, Bob Heilig, Heilig. Look him up, your virtual upline. He is incredible. His whole approach is about being love led. And this is where I learned this concept from. And he will say, he's like, if you are not reaching out to the people that like your content, you are leaving money on the table. And I can vouch for this. It's true. I have sold things from people that simply liked my comment. Or another example, I went live at one point and somebody said hi. This is a girl that I went to high school with. I hadn't talked to her since high school. Like I wasn't close with her. She was an acquaintance. She said hi. But because of what Bob taught, I said, I'm going to reach out to her, but I'm going to reach out in a private message. And so I did. And I asked the right question and we got to talking and she made a purchase. So I turned a hi that might seem like nothing. And you're like, well, they only said hi. They didn't say anything else. They didn't say that they enjoyed it. And you let it go because you get in your head and you think that's about you. It's not about you. Okay. So when somebody likes your content, what should you do? All right, there's an example on the screen here. This is a script that you can use. Okay, so hey, Sally, thanks so much for taking the time to like my post. It means a lot to me that the content I'm putting out there is resonating with people. Then comes the question part. Were you just showing me some love, or can you relate to fill in the blank? You make that blank relatable to whatever the piece of content was that you put up. And this piece is important because this is what's going to get the conversation going. If you just thank her, you might get a thumbs up. You might get nothing back. But when you actually ask a question that warrants a response, you're going to get some more back. Will some people still avoid it? Yes, they will. Just know that going into it. Okay. So you can see my example on the screen here. I had shared a before and after picture of when I was on vacation and vacation 3 years ago versus vacation now. And I talk about being in my health era and feeling better in my 40s than I did in my 30s. That was what the post was about. I had about 160 some people that liked the post. There were also comments, but there 160 people that liked it. And when you think about that, that's a lot of people, right? That's a lot of people that you can just say, oh, they just liked my picture. But what happens if you reach out to them? So you can see 2 examples on the screen here of when I actually reached out to them. So first, I started by saying, hey, I'm back from vacation, blah, blah, blah. But then I said, thank you for taking the time to like my post. And then I asked the question. So I'm wondering, are you feeling more exhausted, drained, and in pain like I used to be? Or are you lively right now? I give them two choices. And in those two choices, I'm asking for a response. So they're going to say one or the other, right? And so you can see here that the one girl said, well, I'm chasing after kids all the time. I'm exhausted, right? Ding, ding, ding. There's her problem. The other one, I'm exhausted, but I just thought that was normal at this point. And that is the case. That is reality. Most people think that is normal. So now we get into conversation. And another thing Bob is very big on teaching is that sales happen in the conversation. Sometimes we get so caught up in all of the content and all of the posting, but we're not actually talking to people. Content and posting, that's planting seeds. Having conversations with people about that, where your goal is to get to find out their problem, that's where sales are going to happen. And I'm going to teach you why. Okay. So they're exhausted, right? I now know their problem, and that is the ultimate goal with starting this conversation. Try to find out their problems. I'm not trying to sell them on any products here. I'm just trying to know, what are they struggling with? Because when I know their problem, now I can plug them into the right opportunity for them. So in this case, if somebody's exhausted, I now can plug them into my next upcoming foundational wellness class, where I know that that helped me and I have my own testimonials to share with that. Okay. If they're struggling with sleep, we can plug them into a sleep class. If their family is sick all the time and they're struggling with cold and flu, we can plug them into an oils class. So knowing their problem helps you to get them plugged into the right opportunity for them. And then here is the big kicker with that. When you get them into the right thing and it's for themselves, it's for their problem, it's for solving their problem, guess what's going to happen to your attendance at your classes? Your attendance is going to go up, because it's no longer about you and helping you, it's about them. The world of, hey girl, I just started with doTERRA, or I'm doing this class, I'm doing this upcoming class, who wants to come? No, that doesn't work anymore. We need to be identifying people's problems and then matching them up with the opportunity that's appropriate for them based on their problem. And then they're going to be able to see the need. You're going to be able to drive the need. You're going to be able to follow up with that need. That's going to much more likely increase the chances that they actually show up to that class. So hopefully you can see how the progression of somebody liking my post turned into people coming to a class. People coming to a class then turns into enrollments. Enrollments could turn into your future teammates. So my point is, if you are putting up content, you have to be in the driver's seat and take control and reach out to the people that like, love, or comment on your posts. Okay. And your whole goal is to just get a conversation going. You are not ultimately trying to like throw your products at them. No. Find out what their problems are. Find out what they're struggling with. Take an interest in that, because then you can help plug them into the right opportunity for them. And I promise you, if you start doing this consistently, you will have more leads. You no longer have to sit with the, oh, I put up a post, I spent all the time on this, nobody commented, I'm not getting anywhere, this social media doesn't work for me, nobody wants to come to a workshop. All of those thoughts that trickle through our head, this is going to be a key and a game changer for you. And then the other piece is just keep doing it. Keep showing up consistently, post in your stories, post on your wall, have real conversations with people outside of social media. But ultimately, always remember, your end goal is to get into a conversation and find out their problems so that you can plug them into what's appropriate. And I can't wait to see how this goes for you.